babies, welcome back to the second episode of the week where we are going to be talking about one of the best ways to eat her out, and it might be just a little bit different than what you're used to. So if you're sick of giving oral this same way in between the legs and you're wanting to spice it up, taking them to climax a lot faster and potentially even stronger, then you have come to the right place. Because I'm here to help guide you into giving the best mind-blowing oral. However, to learn all the tips and techniques, you're gonna have to stay to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's get started on how to eat her. Now I'm sure you guys have heard this saying before, if it's not broken, don't fix it. However, that is not the case in playtime. Some of the best experiences are when you lean into that adventure and you lean into that change and you experience different sensations that you didn't know you could feel or your partner could feel. So today we are going to talk about changing your oral game. That means we are no longer eating it from directly in between the legs. We are now going to eat it from the side. And once you have mastered this method, you're going to be asking yourself why you waited so long to understand it. Because your partner now has a chance to achieve orgasm faster and stronger. So let's just explain this new sideways oral. So let's just talk about positioning for a second. And yeah, I'm going to show you. So first things first, the vulva owner is going to be nice and relaxed, flat on their back, just like so. Now, the person who is going to be giving oral is actually going to be directly on their side rather than in front of them and in between their legs, which is more of the traditional way. So it's going to look a little bit something like this for the giver. So I'm on my stomach and I'm also looking at my partner directly in between her legs with this left arm, and this right arm is going to be doing things too. So if you're not ambidextrous now, you're definitely going to be by the time you've mastered this. So if my little dead fish demo didn't do it for you and you're still like, what the heck, Miranda? I'm very confused. I'm going to include 2 pictures just right here so that you guys can understand what exactly I'm talking about when I'm talking about positioning. The most important thing about this positioning is that the giver is laying horizontally. So it's almost like a T-shape is being formed. So why lick side to side rather than lick up and down? So when you're licking vertically, you're actually missing a lot of stimulation to the whole vulva. So when you open up yourself to eating her out side to side horizontally, you're going to stimulate the clitoral legs, which means the labia majora and the labia minora. Because we all know there's more than just the tip of the iceberg for the clitoris. There's a whole ass damn organ in there. It's longer, it's larger, and it's filled with thousands of nerve endings. So obviously we want to stimulate all of the nerve endings that we can. So licking horizontally with the side to side motion is actually going to allow your tongue to hit those better angles. So you can get the whole clitoral hood and the shaft of the clitoris all at once with just the full width of your tongue. Like, hi, that sounds easier. That sounds more pleasurable anyway. So yes, giving oral from the side is allowing that max stimulation with just one sweep of the tongue, where traditional is just pinpoint specific to the tip of the iceberg of the clitoris. Now, one of the money things about this position is that it actually lets you target some of those other sweet, sensitive spots, such as the anus, the vagina, the perineum, which is that little space of tissue between the anus and the vagina, super duper sensitive. These areas can feel amazing when orally stimulated, and being horizontal is gonna allow you to do that. Plus, like I had mentioned, both your hands might be in use. So now that we got the positioning out of the way and the understanding of why we're doing and why we are changing the things we are changing, let's talk about the actual deed itself, and it's how to lick her out. So obviously you want to do your makeout session, you want to kiss your neck, work your way down the body in the way that you know it, and assume your position because she's about to get her mind blown. So you're going to use your tongue to stimulate all parts of the vulva, but I want you to start off slow. You want to be perceptive to their body language. Make sure you're engaged with them. Going slow adds a little bit of that tease, making them drip, drip. So one of my favorite things to do is not just go side to side, but actually most vulva owners are more sensitive on one side than the other. So if you know your partner's more sensitive side, then stick to stimulating that side just a little bit more. So I actually take my tongue and run it down the inner labia, going up and down that way, then working right across the clitoral hood. You can even experiment with circular motions and different tongue placements. Some vulva owners actually like to be licked over top of their clitoral hood, where others enjoy more of that direct stimulation with the clitoris itself. So lifting up the hood and directly stimulating the clitoris from there. However, if you are playing with somebody who is a little bit more sensitive, stick to staying over top of the hood until they give you the cue that they want more. So now is the time where I said being ambidextrous is definitely going to be helpful. However, I do already think that a lot of us are ambidextrous in the bedroom because there's a lot of times where we are multitasking. Am I right? I'm so right. So after you've done your first few licks, getting everything nice and wet, now it's time to add different sensations in. So I like to reserve my bottom hand for any of these three things: the vaginal opening, the anus, or the perineum. There is filled with tons of nerve endings and tends to be super sensitive, which is one of the key components of the KIVIN method, is actually adding that pressure to the perineum, which is actually adding pressure to the perineum. So using your bottom hand to gently stimulate the perineum, whether that's done with your thumb or your index finger. So a little bit of massage or pressure to this area might enhance your partner's pleasure. Also, when they're getting closer to orgasm, you will be able to feel that piece of tissue start to pulsate. So you know what to do when that happens, baby. You speed it up, obviously. Now let's talk about the vaginal opening. So I like to use my thumb in this area and just slowly work around the outside of the vaginal opening and maybe gliding up and down, kind of almost going all the way to the top of the clit and then all the way back down. Now, if your partner does usually like penetration during oral, this is now the time to grab that glass dildo and lube it up and insert as you're going. That way you can be stimulating the external part of the clitoris while also stimulating the internal and the G-spot, giving them a blended orgasm. So the booty hole isn't for everybody. However, you can add a little bit of light massage or pressure to this area. And if your partner's into it, sliding a finger in, if communicated okay ahead of time, might be the move for you. The bottom line is, don't ignore your bottom hand. The top hand is amazing for that peace sign technique that's going to be gently massaging up and down the clitoral legs externally, obviously. So right in between that labia majora and labia minora. Now, if your tongue starts cramping or just downright exhausted, this is when you can tap into your upper hand and start stimulating with your hand instead of your tongue. Now that we've covered the whole KIVIN method, I hope you guys have a really great foundation. Let us not forget that the communication in this needs to be perfect, because this is all about learning your partner's body and how they like to receive pleasure, because we all get off on seeing our partner climax and experiencing that max amount of pleasure running through their body. I also want to add in, don't put pressure on climax. Just because people are known to climax within 3 to 5 minutes, it can also take a little bit longer, especially when you're trying to figure out the technique. It's all about pleasure. It's not goal orientated to orgasm. So I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. If you did, please drop them in the comments below. And if you have any recommendations with this technique that you have tried in the past, then please help the others out. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. All right, babies, I will see you on Monday. Cheers.